tap into. And I had made the same mistake so many times. You know,
We are on the verge of witnessing something that could completely change the course of events. Blake Lively is reportedly in panic mode after the judge openly questioned the legitimacy of her entire lawsuit, causing her legal case to crumble rapidly. Daily Mail reporter James Vashka has exposed Leslie Sloan's secret smear campaign targeting Justin Baldoni, leaving Hollywood in shock. Evidence now suggests that Leslie Sloan orchestrated a deliberate effort to damage Baldoni's reputation. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds flaunts his new Time magazine cover while Blake quietly retreats in embarrassment. The silence surrounding her is deafening, except for Ryan, who remains as vocal and confident as ever. Blake's courtroom catastrophe has officially exploded into one of the most absurd meltdowns in recent Hollywood memory. She seemed convinced that her charm, fame, and a few well-timed theatrics could carry her to victory, but reality came crashing down. Magistrate Judge Steve Kim wasn't swayed by her celebrity presence or confident demeanor. Instead, he cut straight through the performance with refreshing clarity, offering a much-needed dose of truth. Rumors are now circulating that the Daily Mail reporter involved may even withdraw his sworn statements, adding yet another twist to this unfolding disaster. Blake's latest courtroom misstep took humiliation to a new level. In a move she likely thought was powerful, she filed a motion to compel Wayfair parties to hand over documents, as though she were running the courtroom herself. The judge not only denied her request but delivered a ruling laced with sarcasm, dismissing her demands as unripe, a polished legal way of saying, "Sit down, Blake, this isn't your Instagram story. It's a courtroom." The absurdity didn't end there. Her team had insisted the documents be produced within 10 days, as if ordering same-day delivery from Amazon, when in reality the respondents had already agreed to provide everything by July 1st, 2025. The entire episode made her look impatient, reckless, and utterly out of her depth. To make matters worse, her legal team filed the exact same motion in both California and New York at the same time, like throwing legal confetti and hoping one piece would stick. The California judge wasn't amused and refused to transfer the case back to New York, subtly reminding her that she doesn't even grasp basic jurisdictional rules. This blunder exposed her legal team as disorganized and inconsistent, highlighting how fragile her case truly is. The real humiliation came when Judge Steve Kim issued his order, directly calling out Blake for exaggerating delays, distorting facts, and manipulating court deadlines for her own advantage. It was classic Blake, twisting the narrative, dramatizing every moment, and expecting applause. But unlike the gossip magazines and adoring fans she's used to, the court wasn't entertained. To make things worse, the so-called evidence backing her lawsuit turned out to be just as weak as her filings, pathetic, flimsy, and failing to hold up under even basic scrutiny. It all now hinges on a batch of documents Blake Lively obtained from someone named Joan Works. But those files, shockingly or perhaps predictably, are missing one of the most critical components of digital evidence: metadata. For anyone outside the legal world, metadata is essentially the electronic fingerprint that records when a file was created, who modified it, and how it's been handled. It's what makes evidence verifiable and trustworthy. Without it, there's simply no way to confirm the document's authenticity. Yet Blake marched into court brandishing these files with zero traceable metadata, expecting everyone to accept them as legitimate. It's not only laughable but also deeply suspicious. The absence of metadata doesn't just weaken her case, it raises serious questions about potential evidence tampering. Wayfair's lawyers immediately spotted the issue and are now prepared to dismantle her claims piece by piece. And here's the real danger. If it's ever proven that the missing metadata shows Blake obtained those documents before the official subpoena was issued in October 2024, she could be facing major legal consequences. That would mean she illegally acquired evidence, ironically committing the same kind of misconduct she's accused others of. So much for moral high ground. The same Blake Lively who so often champions integrity and transparency could soon be exposed as someone knee-deep in manipulation and backdoor tactics. Naturally, Blake has already come up with an excuse. This time, she's pointing the finger at Joan Works, claiming that Works provided her with incomplete and unverified data. Classic Blake. Never her fault, always someone else's mistake. But the judges aren't buying it anymore, and truthfully, neither is anyone else. It's almost astonishing how she keeps doubling down rather than taking any responsibility. How someone this disorganized, careless, and desperate still thinks she can emerge as the victim is anyone's guess. Enter her next so-called master plan, Van's End Incorporated, Blake's alleged shell company that's quickly shaping up to be one of the most blatant and disastrous Hollywood cover-ups in recent memory. According to multiple reports, Van's End Incorporated filed an entirely fake lawsuit, not to win any legitimate claim, but to seize phones and private data from people Blake has been feuding with. And once they got what they wanted, the lawsuit conveniently vanished, dropped as if it never existed. The audacity is staggering. Blake treating the legal system like another social media stunt, flaunting arrogance without accountability. But her recklessness didn't stop there. Van's End was ordered to produce documents revealing its true shareholders by June 24, 2025. What happened next? Absolutely nothing. They ignored the deadline completely, fueling speculation that Van's End was nothing more than a Reynolds Lively puppet company created to conceal behind-the-scenes schemes. And just when it seemed things couldn't spiral any further, Jennifer Abel's legal team stepped in, claiming that Van's End was used as a front to run the smear campaign against Wayfair, all while sidestepping discovery rules. Essentially, Blake Lively created a fake company to secretly manipulate the legal process, pulling strings from behind the scenes. But Wayfair's attorneys are not letting it slide. They're now demanding shareholder records, internal communications, and organizational charts, all the evidence that could expose Blake's direct involvement in the scheme. Unsurprisingly, her team is stonewalling and refusing to release any documentation, which only makes them appear guiltier. What's even more incriminating is that the missing Van's End files could prove Blake coordinated with Joan Works and various PR firms to execute a calculated character assassination. At this point, we're no longer just dealing with sloppy lawyering. There's potential proof of collusion, manipulation, and even evidence tampering. The deeper this situation goes, the more it spirals into a self-inflicted disaster. Blake's entire strategy is collapsing in real time. She's trying to play legal chess, but she's stuck playing checkers, tripping over her own contradictions, filing fake lawsuits, missing deadlines, and leaving a trail of blunders that even her PR team can't spin into something polished. The judges aren't impressed by the Hollywood charm or star power anymore. They see right through the manipulation and are openly calling her out for her deception, procedural stunts, and desperate attempts to twist the narrative. Her carefully curated image, the charming, relatable girl next door with the perfect husband, perfect life, and flawless persona, is cracking under the weight of her own lies. Her own lies. Every fake lawsuit, every missing piece of metadata, every shady maneuver adds another layer to this imploding circus. What once looked like a calculated legal offensive now resembles a full-blown comedy of errors. Watching her unravel in court feels like an unintentional reality show, chaotic, unpredictable, and impossible to look away from. And just when it seems things couldn't get more surreal, in steps James Vashka, the Daily Mail reporter who has unexpectedly become the centerpiece of this Hollywood meltdown. Vashka originally signed a sworn statement that appeared to downplay Leslie Sloan's involvement in Blake's smear campaign. Sloan, Blake's longtime PR fixer, has built a career on deception, shaping narratives and spinning scandals out of thin air. But now the tables have turned. Vashka's story is shifting, and his revised testimony could be the spark that sets Blake's entire defense on fire. His new revelations are pulling back the curtain on just how deep this scandal truly goes. You couldn't script a more dramatic implosion if you tried. Even Hollywood writers would struggle to match the sheer irony, chaos, and spectacle of Blake Lively's real-life downfall. Flipping faster than Blake Lively's credibility, James Vashka's situation has gone from chaotic to catastrophic. Things have taken a truly wild turn. Vashka just fired the lawyers assigned to him by the Daily Mail. the same in-house attorneys, believed to be guiding him toward protecting Blake's preferred narrative. Instead, he's gone into full-blown panic mode and hired a criminal defense attorney. And that's not something you do unless you're facing serious accusations like perjury or obstruction of justice. So, the question is obvious. Why would a journalist who insists he was simply reporting suddenly need such heavy legal firepower? The answer is clear. He's realized this is no longer just a PR mess. It's a potential criminal crisis. Watching Blake's team scramble to contain the fallout is more dramatic than anything Netflix could script. But the plot thickens. Newly leaked text messages reveal that Vashka privately called Leslie Sloan a liar. Let that sink in. Publicly, he signed a sworn statement saying Sloan never fed him dirt about Justin Baldoni, yet behind the scenes he was calling her dishonest. The contradiction is staggering, and even Blake's legal team seems to have stopped trying to spin it. Her PR machine is in absolute crisis mode, desperately trying to control the narrative while pretending everything's fine. It's chaos masquerading as confidence. Then there's the infamous August 2024 article, Vashka's own hit piece, painting Justin Baldoni as a chauvinistic and abusive presence on set. That story was the spark that ignited Blake's entire smear campaign. But now, insiders are whispering that Leslie Sloan was the one feeding him those lies all along. It's textbook PR manipulation, and Vashka is cracking under the pressure of maintaining that false front. The final nail in the coffin? Vashka has reportedly been granted whistleblower protection. You know things are bad when your supposed ally flips sides and secures immunity just to tell the truth. That revelation alone obliterates Blake's carefully constructed narrative. She thought she could control the headlines and silence her critics, but now her inner circle is collapsing from within. Her star witness has flipped. Her PR fixers been exposed, and the entire house of cards she built is crumbling in full public view. To put it simply, James Vashka signed a sworn statement telling the judge that his communications with Leslie Sloan were just a misunderstanding. But now, that version of events has fallen apart. While Blake's PR empire burns, Justin Baldoni isn't sitting quietly or playing the victim. He's coming back swinging. Despite his $400 million defamation lawsuit being dismissed, Baldoni isn't done. His powerhouse attorney, Brian Friedman, has made it clear that this fight is far from over, and Blake should be nervous. Even legal analysts are questioning how the case was handled. Retired Judge Liz, now a straight-talking YouTube legal commentator, publicly slammed the dismissal as unconstitutional under California law, accusing the court of bending over backward to protect false accusers like Blake while punishing those actually defamed. When retired judges start roasting you on YouTube, that's a whole new level of humiliation. Baldoni's team isn't backing down either. They're calling out the system for silencing victims of false accusations while allowing public figures, like Blake Lively, to twist narratives, spread lies, and hide behind fame without consequence. And here's the twist. Despite the odds of a successful appeal being only around 8 to 12%, Baldoni is moving forward anyway. For him, it's no longer just about another lawsuit. It's about exposing the truth and holding Blake accountable for orchestrating a smear campaign that's now unraveling spectacularly. And make no mistake, Brian Friedman is no rookie. This is the same powerhouse attorney who once went head-to-head with the New York Times in a $250 million case. Brian Friedman knows exactly how to use litigation as both a weapon and a spotlight, and he's preparing to peel back every polished layer of Blake Lively's carefully curated PR facade. If this appeal moves forward, expect everything she's been trying to bury, text messages, emails, and digital receipts, to surface for everyone to see. But the most telling part of this entire saga came when it was time for Blake to finally defend her claims under oath. She vanished. The queen of the flawless public image simply didn't show up to her deposition 2 days ago. No statement, no explanation, nothing. Just silence. It's as if she disappeared the same way that fake Van's End Incorporated lawsuit did the moment the pressure got too real. Lively's absence isn't just a bad look. It's a full-blown credibility disaster. Depositions are legally required by August 14, 2025, not optional. Skipping them doesn't just look suspicious, it practically screams that she's hiding something. Watching her PR team twist themselves into knots trying to justify it is almost comedic. Everyone knows the rules. All depositions must be completed by mid-August, and her failure to appear throws up every red flag imaginable. The irony is striking. When Justin Baldoni's original lawsuit was dismissed, Blake couldn't wait to celebrate. She rushed to Instagram, posting cryptic stories and acting like she'd just won an Oscar for her survivor-turned-hero act. But now, total silence. The same woman who never missed a chance to talk about strength and empowerment suddenly can't even face the court. Miss Independent has gone completely quiet, hiding in the shadows while her reputation burns. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds is out playing janitor to her PR explosion, frantically trying to polish their golden couple image. His team is in overdrive, slapping his face on magazine covers, pushing his brand maximum effort, and spinning a narrative that they're still Hollywood's most untouchable duo. But the truth is harder to hide. Blake skipping depositions like, "The truth itself is her worst nightmare, and no amount of Ryan's charm can distract from it." Skipping a mandatory legal proceeding isn't just embarrassing, it's dangerous. It opens her up to sanctions, fines, and potentially even harsher consequences. Her silence, combined with her team's nervous deflections, says everything. The courts don't care about Instagram grids, designer gowns, or carefully scripted interviews. Judges care about evidence and accountability, and right now, Blake Lively is running from both. The real spectacle, however, comes when you factor in Ryan Reynolds himself. Let's be honest, he's not just an innocent bystander here. He's front and center, smiling for the cameras, practically selling popcorn while his wife's public image goes up in flames. His latest PR push, splashing maximum effort across magazine spreads and interviews, couldn't have come at a more desperate time. While he poses as Hollywood's most inspiring entrepreneur, his wife is knee-deep in scandal, dodging depositions, losing witnesses, getting called out by judges, and watching her once glittering reputation collapse under the weight of her own actions. Yet there he is, grinning like everything's fine, pretending the chaos doesn't exist. It's almost comical how desperately Ryan and Blake cling to their golden couple image, while the public isn't buying a single second of it. The hypocrisy is astounding. Ryan's been parading through interviews preaching about accountability as if he's some moral compass for Hollywood. Accountability from the man married to Blake Lively, the queen of dodging subpoenas and filing fake lawsuits? Please. The only thing Ryan seems to hold accountable is his PR team, who are clearly pulling all-nighters trying to keep this collapsing house of cards from hitting the ground. Even worse, he's now bragging that all this scandal has boosted his company's visibility, as if using his wife's legal downfall for free publicity is something to be proud of. It's like watching someone set their own house on fire just to brag about how bright the flames look on Instagram. And it doesn't stop there. Ryan insists public opinion doesn't matter to him, yet the second criticism surfaces. He's locking comments, deleting negative posts, and micromanaging every piece of media coverage. For someone who doesn't care, he sure spends an awful lot of time obsessing over what people see. It's giving insecure high schooler energy, not confident billionaire, and audiences see straight through it. The evidence is right there in Blake's so-called comeback brand, Blake Brown, which was supposed to cement her return as a powerful, relevant figure. Instead, it's sitting untouched on clearance shelves across New York. What was meant to be a bold reinvention has turned into a PR funeral. But behind all of this chaos lurks Leslie Sloan, Blake's longtime PR puppet master and fixer, whose manipulative fingerprints are all over this scandal. Sloan has built her career crafting illusions. But even she's drowning now, reportedly demanding Wayfair cover her legal fees and pretending she's been vindicated in the very mess she helped create. It would almost be impressive if it weren't so delusional. Unfortunately for her, the receipts tell a different story. James Vashka's whistleblower protections and text messages have blown her cover wide open. She can deny bad-mouthing Baldoni all she wants, but her own communications show clear evidence of threats, coercion, and manipulation. This wasn't some careless PR blunder, it was a deliberate smear campaign. The newly surfaced legal documents paint a damning picture, exposing how Sloan used intimidation and deceit to keep witnesses silent and control the narrative. These are not the actions of someone defending truth, they're the tactics of someone terrified of exposure. The entire affair reads more like a political scandal than a celebrity feud. And if Sloan's role becomes fully exposed, Blake's entire case collapses alongside hers. Once the courts connect the dots between Blake, Sloan, Van Zandt Incorporated, and the falsified evidence, it's game over. The illusion shatters, the fairy tale ends, and all that remains is the raw, ugly truth. At this point, it's no longer just a celebrity legal drama, it's a full-blown Hollywood implosion. Blake Lively's empire is collapsing, Ryan Reynolds' image is cracking, and Leslie Sloan's machinations are unraveling in real time. No amount of glossy PR spin can hide the fact that the truth has finally caught up to them all. What makes this downfall even more spectacular is how fast Blake's empire is crumbling. Faster than her team can invent excuses.